Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.
Today we'll be doing the 5th day of the 8th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 8 of the Krishna book, with two monumental leelas. That is, when Krishna gets old enough, he joins with the other boys his age, the sons of the other gopas, and they begin their mischievous acts all around Braj. And the second is when these same boys, along with Balaram, come to Mother Yasoda to complain to her that Krishna's eaten dirt.
The narration of Krishna's naughty childhood activities would be presented to Mother Yashoda in the form of complaints. Sometimes Krishna would enter the house of a neighbor, and if he found no one there, he would release the cows before the time for the cows to be milked. The cows are actually supposed to be released when their mothers are milked, but Krishna would release them before that time, and naturally the cows would drink all the milk from their mothers. This is purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.29.
So this was before Krishna started his calf tending leela with the boys. He had just learned how to walk, and now he was running around with the boys looking for naughty things to do. So when the mothers weren't around, he would let the calves go so they could drink all the milk of the cows. Actually, by the arrangement of Sri Krishna, the cow produces more milk than the calf needs. So that's why the calf is brought at the time of the milking, morning and evening. And the milk, particularly in the evening, is special because the cow has had exercise all day. And at night, when she's resting, the milk in the morning is very rich. So the calves, they drink up all that milk because Krishna lets them loose when nobody's there to watch him.
When the cowherd men saw this, they would chastise Krishna and try to catch him. They would chase Krishna and try to catch him, saying, "Here is Krishna doing mischief." But he would flee and enter another house, where he would again devise some means to steal butter and yogurt. Then coward men would again try to capture him, saying, "Here is the butter thief, better capture him." And they would be angry, but Krishna would simply smile and they would forget everything. Sometimes in their presence he would begin eating the yogurt and butter. This is purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 8.29.
So there's a saying, idle brain is devil's workshop. So because Krishna yet didn't have any engagement, he wasn't yet old enough to herd the calves with the other boys, he would just go from house to house looking for mischief to do. And the gopas and the gopis, they would pretend to be angry, but actually they loved it when they came to his house, to their house, and they loved his smiling. And right in front of them, he would eat the butter and the yogurt.
There was no need for Krishna to eat butter. since his belly was always full, but he would try to eat it, or else he would break the pots and distribute the contents to the monkeys. In this way, Krishna was always engaged in mischief making. If in any house he could not find any butter or yogurt to steal, he would go into the room and agitate the small children sleeping there by pinching them, and then they cried, and when they cried, he would go away. Purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 10:29.
This is Krishna. He's teaching the gopis that they better have some butter for him, otherwise he's going to pinch the babies. And the monkeys, they were his friend, so he would make sure they got enough also. They would be waiting.
If we keep our stock of yogurt, butter and milk in a solitary dark place, your Krishna and Balram find it in the darkness by clearing effulgence of the ornaments and jewels on their bodies. If by chance they cannot find the hidden butter and yogurt, they go to our little babies and pinch their bodies so that they cry and then they go away. If we keep our stock of butter and yogurt high on the ceiling, hanging on a swing, although it is beyond their reach, they arrange to reach by piling all the kinds of wooden plates over the grinding machine. They make a hole in the pot. We think therefore that you better take all the jeweled ornaments from the bodies of your children.
So this section is particularly pleasurable to hear how Krishna is doing so much mischief with the gopis, and they're also enjoying it. But just as a pastime, they come, right now they're speaking to Yashoda. See, this is all in quotes. They're complaining to her what Krishna Balaram do, how they break the pots, how they pile up different things so that they can reach the pots, and their jewels are so brilliant that they suggest that why not take the jewels off of them, then they won't be able to see where we hide all of our yogurt and butter.
Next. When the milk and yogurt are kept high on a swing hanging from the ceiling and Krishna and Balram cannot reach it, they arrange to reach it by piling up various planks and turning upside down the mortar for grinding spices. Being quite aware of the contents of the pot, they pick holes in it. While the elder gopis go about their household affairs, Krishna and Balram sometimes go into a dark room, brightening the place with the valuable jewels and ornaments on their bodies, and taking advantage of this light by stealing. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-30.
So when raising a child, you'll find out that when someone else's child does some mischief, if you try to chastise that child, you get in a lot of trouble. So what you have to do is you have to go to the mother of that child and convince the mother to correct the child. And then it's in the mother's hand what she does. So again and again the gopis would come in a group and tell Yashoda what her child was doing all around the neighborhood. But it wasn't actually a complaint. Actually, they were enjoying the pastimes of Krishna and how he was doing so much mischief with his friends.
Formerly in every household, yogurt and butter were kept for use in emergencies. But Krishna and Balram would pile up planks so that they could reach the pots and would then pick holes in the pots with their hands so that the contents would leak out and they could drink it. This was another means for stealing butter and milk. When the butter and milk were kept in a dark room, Krishna and Balram would go there and make the place bright with the valuable jewels on their bodies. On the whole, Krishna and Balram engaged in stealing butter and milk from the neighborhood houses in many ways. Purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 10:30.
So there are two ways to make butter. One way is you boil the milk and you let the cream come to the top, and then you scrape off the cream and you pile up that cream, and that cream eventually becomes the butter. The other is, and this is the way the gopis would make the butter, they turn the milk, after boiling it, they put in the culture and they turn the milk into yogurt. And then to that yogurt you add water. And then you churn it. And the activity of the churning causes the cream, more cream, to come up to the top. And then they scrape off that cream from the side of the churning pot on the inside. And they keep it in a separate pot. So because of this daily activity of making the yogurt and then churning the yogurt and then scraping off the butter and keeping it in a separate pot, they would always have yogurt and butter pots in the house because they were always in the process of this.
On hearing this, Yashoda would say, "All right, I will take all the jewels from Krishna so that he cannot see the butter hidden in darkness." Then the gopis would say, "No, no, don't do this. What good will you do by taking away the jewels? We do not know what kind of boys these are. But even without ornaments, they spread some kind of effulgence so that even in darkness they can see everything." Krishna Book, chapter 8.
So Krishna and Balaram were so naughty, but they weren't alone. They see underneath, they taught all the young boys their age to help them with their mischief. So they would go in a group, and that way they would enjoy one person, they would stand up, pile up on top of each other so Krishna could reach it, and they would take their sticks and poke holes in the pots, and in that way they would get lots of butter and yogurt, enough to even feed to the monkeys. And then when the monkeys were so full they couldn't eat anymore, then they would say that it was useless butter.
Then Mother Yashoda would inform them, "All right, keep your butter and yogurt carefully so that they may not reach it." In reply to this, the gopis said, "Yes, actually we do so, but because we are sometimes engaged in our household duties, these naughty boys enter our houses somehow or other and spoil everything. Sometimes being unable to steal our butter and yogurt, out of anger they pass urine on the clean floor and sometimes spit on it." Krishna Book, chapter 8.
So we'll read up ahead. Prabhupada was describing to the artists how to paint pictures and what this Leela was. And he didn't use the word spit when he was telling them that Krishna would go to a clean part of the house and pass urine, and then he would pitu, like that. But how can you write pitu? So when they wrote Krishna book and the Srimad Bhagavatam, they put in the word spit.
So in the recording you hear patu.
No, you'll see it.
Okay. Just see your boy now. Just see your boy now. He's hearing this complaint. All day they simply make arrangements to steal our butter and yogurt, and now they are sitting just like very silent good boys. Just see his face. When Mother Yashoda thought to chastise her boy after hearing all the complaints, she saw his pitiable face, and smiling she did not chastise him. Krishna Book, chapter 8.
Actually, he was too young to chastise at this time. He was only 2 or 3 years old. So they were taking pleasure. It was giving them a nice excuse to come and see Krishna, come to Mother Yasoda's house and complain about him, and at the same time see his beautiful face.
When Krishna is caught in his naughty activities, the master of the house will say to him, "Oh, you are a thief," and artificially express anger at Krishna. Krishna will then reply, "Demon."
So is it true what Krishna said? He's calling them a thief. Yes, they're thieves because actually everything belongs to Krishna. And everything should be offered to him, but they've forgotten. They're thinking it's their yogurt and butter. Actually, it all belongs to Krishna.
Sometimes all the gopis would look at Krishna sitting there, his eyes fearful, so that his mother would not chastise him. And when they saw Krishna's beautiful face, instead of chastising him, they would simply look upon his face and enjoy transcendental bliss. Mother Yashoda would mildly smile at all this fun, and she would not want to chastise her blessed transcendental child. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.31.
So for them this was a daily play, daily pastime. They would look forward to Krishna coming to their house to steal their butter and yogurt, and then they would have even more fun coming to Yashoda to complain, and then they would get to see Krishna enjoying this pastime of pretending to be afraid of his mother and pretending to be that he might be chastised and begging his mother not to chastise him. And so they were all enjoying this so much until he got a little older, when he could start going out with calves.
Krishna's business in the neighborhood was not only to steal, but sometimes to pass stool and urine in a neat, clean house. When caught by a master of the house, Krishna would chastise him, saying, "You are a thief." Aside from being a thief in childhood affairs, Krishna acted as an expert thief when he was young, attracting young girls and enjoying them in the Ras dance. This is Krishna's business. He is also violent as a killer of many demons. Purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.31.
Whatever you see here in the material world is simply a perverted reflection of Krishna's behavior and his attributes. So here we have thieves, we have murderers, we have violent people, and Krishna also was a thief. What did he do? He stole all the gopis' clothes so they couldn't come out of the water, and then he tricked them. He made them all come up into out of the water and offer obeisances to them, telling them that they had committed a great offense by bathing naked. And then to consummate their desires to have Krishna as a husband, he arranged for the next year to have the rasa dance with all these same girls. So Krishna had wonderful activities in all the different rasas, and all these rasas originate with Krishna and his devotees in the spiritual world.
Although mundane people like non-violence and other such brilliant qualities, God, the absolute truth, being always the same, is good in any activities, even so-called immoral activities like stealing, killing and violence. Krishna is always pure, and he is always the supreme absolute truth. Krishna may do anything supposedly abominable in material life, yet still he is attractive. Therefore his name is Krishna, meaning all attractive. Purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.31.
So Krishna is the supreme controller, and he makes all the rules. He also breaks all the rules. And in Braj we see that especially. He goes out of his way to do so much mischief, beginning as a little child. And from the time he's just a small 6-year-old baby, he's already engaged in killing. First he kills Putana, then Shaka, then Trinavarta. Now he's engaged in his stealing activities, and he's teaching all of his friends to become great thieves as well.
This is the platform on which transcendental loving affairs and services are exchanged. Because of the features of Krishna's face, the mothers were so attracted that they could not chastise him. Instead of chastising him, they smiled and enjoyed hearing of Krishna's activities. Thus the gopis remained satisfied, and Krishna enjoyed their happiness. Therefore another name of Krishna is Gopi Jana Vallabha, because he invented such activities to please the gopis. Report to Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.31.
So this last line, he invented such activities to please the gopis. So although he would go to one gopi's house and do some type of mischief, then when they were chasing him, he would run into another gopi's house and do something else. finally they would all come together to complain to Mother Yasoda and share with each other which mischief he had done in their house. Meanwhile, they got to see this beautiful young boy Krishna, and there was no way that Mother Yasoda was able to chastise him.
Another day, when Krishna and Balaram were playing with their friends, all the boys joined Balaram and told Mother Yashoda that Krishna had eaten clay. Krishna book chapter 8. One day while Krishna was playing with his small playmates, including Balaram and other sons of the Gopas, all his friends came together and lodged a complaint to Mother Yashoda. Mother, they submitted, Krishna has eaten earth. It's Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-32.
What actually happened amongst the boys, who knows? We'll have to go there to find out. Some acharyas say that Balaram and Krishna, they got angry at Krishna, so they decided to make up this trick so Krishna would get in trouble with his mother. But Krishna has another story.
Here is another of Krishna's transcendental activities invented to please the gopis. First, a complaint was lodged with Mother Yashoda about Krishna's stealing, but Mother Yashoda did not chastise him. Now, in an attempt to awaken Mother Yashoda's anger so that she would chastise Krishna, another complaint was invented that Krishna has eaten earth. Purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-32.
So now you see this picture here. We're going to hear this story. You won't be able to read because it's in small print, but I'll show the full picture. This is the original picture of Krishna showing his mother that he hadn't eaten dirt. That was in the original Krishna book. And then there's another artist, an early devotee named Janava Devi Dasi. So she and Bharadraj, one of the main artists, were called in by Prabhupada to discuss the painting of the Krishna book. And I'll read that story. Srila Prabhupada began telling Krishna book stories we had never heard before. He said, Lord Krishna, he was such a naughty boy. A naughty boy is an intelligent boy. I was naughty when I was a little boy. And so was Lord Krishna, and so was Lord Chaitanya. He said, Lord Krishna used to pass urine on the clean floor, and then he'd go poo on it. And Srila Prabhupada went like that. Of course, in the book it says spit, but Srila Prabhupada went poo. Then Srila Prabhupada began telling us about the universal form, the universe contained within the mouth of Lord Krishna, when Mother Yasoda asked him to open his mouth. Srila Prabhupada described how there were oceans and seas, and there was air and fire and earth and water and the 10 directions, north, south, east and west, mountains, and this went on for about 5 minutes. As she was speaking in this wonderfully charismatic way, Bharadraj and I, unbeknownst to us, were gradually leaning forward, getting involved in the story. And at one point, Srila Prabhupada said to Bharadraj, now you paint that. It was such a shock. It was a double shock because we were coming closer and closer, and we weren't expecting Srila Prabhupada to suddenly say that. And it was also a shock to be asked to paint it. Bharadraj almost lost his balance backwards too. Months later, Bharadraj was in Montreal struggling with how to paint this picture. He wrote to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, in all due honesty, I cannot figure out how to put all those things in Krishna's mouth. Srila Prabhupada sent back a little sketch that showed a stick figure of Mother Yasoda standing up, a little stick figure of child Krishna sitting down with the balloon coming out of his mouth. And Prabhupada said, that's how you do it. Then Bharadraj made the beautiful painting that's in the original Krishna book of the universe in Krishna's mouth. That painting now hangs in the foyer of the Montreal temple, so we can see that painting again. See the balloon?
On hearing this, Mother Yashoda caught hold of Krishna's hand and said, "My dear Krishna, why have you eaten earth in a solitary place? Just see, all your friends, including Balram, are complaining about you." Krishna Book, Chapter 8. Upon hearing this from Krishna's playmates, Mother Yashoda, who was always full of anxiety over Krishna's welfare, picked Krishna up with her hands to look into his mouth and chastise him. Her eyes fearful, she spoke to her son as follows: "Dear Krishna, why are you so restless that you have eaten dirt in a solitary place? This complaint has been lodged against you by all your playmates, including your elder brother Balram. How is this?" Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8, 33 and 34.
Well, again, anyone who's been a mother knows that children eat dirt. It's a very common thing. They eat dirt. The scientists and the doctors, the pediatricians, they say the reason the children eat dirt is because they lack calcium. So, naturally, if all the gopis are stopping Krishna from eating their yogurt and butter, he has to eat dirt to get his calcium. Right? But in fact, the boys, they wanted to get Krishna in trouble because they had a little argument during their play.
Mother Yashoda was agitated by Krishna's restless behavior. Her house was full of sweetmeats. Why then should the restless boy eat dirt in the solitary place? Krishna replied, "My dear mother, they have plotted together and lodged a complaint against me so that you will punish me. My elder brother Balram has joined them. Actually, I have not done this. Take my words as true. Do not be angry and chastise me." It's purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-34.
So the boys were watching this. And because these rasas are all eternal, Prabhupada explains that actually the 12 rasas, the 5 staibhavs, that's the major rasas of Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, those are steady, stai. But these 7 gona rasas, ditched with the addition of 2 special temporary rasas.
Being afraid of his mother, Krishna replied, "My dear mother, all these boys, including my elder brother Balram, are speaking lies against me." Krishna Book, Chapter 8. Lord Krishna replied, "My dear mother, I have never eaten dirt. All my friends complaining against me are liars. If you think they are being truthful, you can directly look into my mouth and examine it." Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-35. Krishna presented himself as an innocent child to increase the transcendental ecstasy of maternal affection, as described in the Shastra. Tadar bhayat mithyoktir vatsalya rasaposhika. This means that sometimes a small child speaks lies. For example, he may have stolen something or eaten something and yet deny that he has done so. We ordinarily see in the material world, but in relation to Krishna it is different. Such activities are meant to endow the devotee with transcendental ecstasy. Report to Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-35.
Yeah, so this is a special pastime. Just as later in the Dwarka Leela, we find that Krishna, because his wife, principal wife Rukmini, she was very submissive, always serving him, very gentle. She never got angry. She never got annoyed with him. She never chastised Krishna as wives often do to their husbands. Never. So Krishna wanted to see that side of her. And he devised some way to develop her anger, or he tried to, but failed. So in this pastime, Krishna is trying to see Mother Yasoda get angry at him.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead was playing as a liar and accusing all other devotees of being liars. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.12.11, Kruta Punya Punjaha, a devotee may attain such an ecstatic position after many bows of devotional service. Persons who have amassed the results of a vast amount of pious activities can attain the stage of associating with Krishna and playing with him like ordinary playmates. Purport Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.35.
So this Sakyaras, Sa-Ka. Sa means along with, and Ka means to eat. So these cowherd boys, they were on such an elevated level that they were eating with Krishna, sleeping with Krishna, playing with Krishna, jumping on his shoulders, and running with him, everything along with him, Saha, along with him. So now they were playing, and this whole Leela is to increase Mother Yasoda's maternal affection for him by her fearfulness, by her wonder, by her anger, and the boys were assisting him.
The cowherd boys, having accumulated the results of pious activities for many lives, were able to associate in this way with Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can one explain their great fortune? Srimad Bhagavatam 10.12.11.
So in chapter 10, 12, 11 coming up, it's a combined 3 verses together, and this is just the 11th verse, 4 verses, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And Sukadeva Goswami, he describes all the different activities of these sakas to bring Krishna pleasure, how they imitate the animals, how so many different things. We'll get to that. But they have such great fortune. And how did they get that great fortune?
One should not consider these transactions of transcendental service to be untruthful accusations. One should never accuse such devotees of being ordinary boys speaking lies, for they attain this stage of associating with Krishna by great austerities. Tapasa brahmacharena shamena cha damena cha. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.13. Purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.35.
So Krishna's friends are not ordinary. They're impetuses for loving Krishna more. And they're engaged in most intimate pastimes with Krishna, the Sakas and the Sakis. This is why Krishna wanted to go to Braj, just to enjoy with his boyfriends, his girlfriends, his mother, his father, and all of his loving devotees there in Vrindavan.
I have never eaten today. My elder brother Balram, while playing with me today, became angry, and therefore he has joined with other boys to complain against me. They have all combined together to complain, so you will become angry and chastise me. If you think they are truthful, then you can look within my mouth to see whether I have taken clay or not. His mother replied, all right, if you have actually not taken any clay, then just open your mouth. I shall see. Krishna Book, chapter 8.
So we're coming to this wonderful point. Already Krishna once had shown the universal form to Mother Yasoda while he was lying in her lap, and he had just finished drinking milk, and he opened his mouth, and there she saw the universal form. But quickly after that, because she became bewildered, Krishna covered her with his Yogamaya potency and she forgot. Now the second time, he's going to show her the universal form. Later, Mother Yasoda, in the next few chapters, we're going to experience the topmost of all Vatsalya Ras. And that's when Mother Yasoda ties Krishna up to finally chastise him. She's heard too many complaints against him. She feels it's her duty as a mother. She has to train him to stop this stealing and lying. So here he's going to show her his universal form with his mouth. That means she's tying up the whole universe in the form of her little child. But Duryodhana, he also tried to tie up Krishna. when Krishna came to make the peace treaty, in a mood of an enemy, in a mood of anger and hatred. And Krishna just laughed at him. He says, "You can't tie me up." And then he showed just a partial manifestation of that universal form to him. But Duryodhana wouldn't even accept that that was Krishna in universal form. He said, "Oh, it's just some of Krishna's mystic potencies." So Mother Yasoda, she now is going to see this universal form, and let's see her reaction.
Mother Yashoda challenged Krishna, "If you have not eaten earth, then open your mouth wide." When challenged by his mother in this way, Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, and Yashoda, to exhibit pastimes like a human child, opened his mouth. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is full of all opulences, did not disturb his mother's maternal affection, his opulence was automatically displayed, for Krishna's opulence is never lost at any stage, but is manifest at the proper time. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-36.
So, this is when the rasas begin, because her maternal rasa is so strong. She's, as before said, she's always in anxiety about his welfare, his maintenance, if anything's going to harm him, what is he doing, is he stealing? Meanwhile, Krishna comes to her, what can you say, just to show her who he actually is. So when he opens his mouth, what does she see?
Without disturbing the ecstasy of his mother's affection, Krishna opened his mouth and displayed his own natural opulences. When a person is given varieties of food, there may be 101 varieties, but if one likes ordinary shark, spinach, he prefers to eat that. Similarly, although Krishna was full of opulence, now by the order of Mother Yashoda, he opened wide his mouth like a human child and did not neglect the transcendental humor of maternal affection. Purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 10:36.
So this analogy that Prabhupada is giving about, let's say someone offers you a big feast, 101 different varieties of preparations, but you're accustomed to eating just simple boiled sabji every day. Saag, just simple spinach. So the 101 preparations might be there, but you're very happy with the simple spinach. So Mother Yasoda, although Krishna was going to manifest her his unlimited opulences, she didn't care. She just wanted to see Krishna as her little son.
When the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna was so ordered by his mother, immediately opened complete opulence of creation. She saw the entire outer space in all directions, mountains, islands, oceans, seas, planets, air, fire, moon and stars. Krishna Book, Chapter 8.
We can just go on. It's a long description.
Along with the moon and the stars, she also saw the entire elements, water, sky, the extensive ethereal existence, along with the total ego and the products of senses and the controller of senses, all the demigods, the objects of the senses like sound, smell, etc., and the three qualities of material nature. She also saw within his mouth herself taking Krishna on her lap and having him sucking her breast. Krishna Book, Chapter 8. When Krishna opened his mouth wide by the order of Mother Yashoda, she saw within his mouth all moving and non-moving entities, outer space in all directions, along with mountains, islands, oceans, and the surface of the earth, the blowing wind, fire, the moon, the stars. She saw the planetary systems, water, light, air, sky, and creation by transformation of Ahankara. She also saw the senses, the mind, sense perception, and three material qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance. She also could perceive that within his mouth were all living entities, eternal time, material nature, spiritual nature, activity, consciousness, and different forms of whole creation. Yashoda could find within the mouth of her child everything necessary for cosmic manifestation. Krishna Book, Chapter 8.
So Krishna didn't only show the material manifestation, he also showed the spiritual world to her. And Krishna did that a second time to all the inhabitants of Vrindavan. They were very curious. Now he's showing the entire cosmic manifestation. That means both the spiritual and material world. Mother Yasoda even sees herself within his mouth, which is, it would cause anyone to become imbalanced when you see all of this in your little child's mouth.
She saw the time allotted for the living entities. She saw material instinct and the reactions of, she saw natural instinct and the reactions of karma. And she saw desires and different varieties of bodies, moving and non-moving. Seeing all these aspects of the cosmic manifestation along with herself and Vrindavan Dham, she became doubtful and fearful of her son's nature. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:37-39.
So now these secondary rasas are making their appearance to enrich this maternal affection for Krishna. She's becoming fearful. She doesn't know what's happened to her son. She's in total amazement. She's in doubt. So all of these temporary manifestations of these humors, of these different emotions towards Krishna are manifesting in her heart just to enrich her maternal love for him.
All the cosmic manifestations consisting of gross and subtle elements as well as means of their agitation, the three gunas, the living entity, creation, maintenance, annihilation, and everything going on in the external energy of the Lord, all this comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda. Everything is within the control of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9.10. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Everything in the material nature, Prakriti, works under his control. Purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8:37-39. Krishna's Achintya Shakti. Because all these manifestations come from Govinda, they could all be visible within the mouth of Govinda. Quite astonishingly, Mother Yashoda was afraid because of intense maternal affection. She could not believe that within the mouth of her son such things could appear. Yet she saw them and therefore she was struck with fear and wonder. Put to Srimad Bhagavatam 10:37-39.
So we know that Krishna has Achintya Shakti. That means we can't understand how his energies are working. He's the controller of Maya. Maya means there's Yoga Maya and there's Mahamaya. And he controls both of them. They're both his maidservants. Directly, he's also overseeing all the activities in the material world through his different potencies. Now, he has come here to manifest some of his Leela within the cosmic manifestation. He comes regularly to manifest these Leelas as an invitation for us to come back and enjoy with him in the eternal spiritual realm. But at the same time, while he's within the cosmic manifestation, that cosmic manifestation is within him. And that's the proof, because when he opened his mouth, Mother Yasoda was able to see the entire creation, both spiritual and material. So this is quite amazing, especially for a mother to see in her child's mouth, and therefore Mother Yasoda is now experiencing both wonder and fear, two of the temporary rasas.
There are 5 main rasas: neutrality, servitude, friendship, parental love and conjugal love, and 7 secondary rasas: hasya, humorous, adbhuta, wonderment, karuna, pity, raudra, anger, veera, chivalry, bhayanaka, fearsome, bibhatsa, horror. The supreme object of them all is Sri Krishna himself. The 7 secondary rasas sometimes appear and disappear to enrich the flavors and tastes of the primary ones. After enriching the primary rasas, they disappear.
So these are temporary manifestations of the secondary rasas that Mother Yasoda is experiencing. This science of bhakti, when we hear the different leelas of the Lord, we can analyze these rasas and the different manifestations of love and ecstasy and see everything fits in exactly because it's very scientific. All of the reactions that the devotees of the Lord experience when they see Krishna's pastimes, when they take part in his pastimes, and everything can be classified and categorized if we choose to. If we choose to do those things, we can understand the rasas in that way. So here, in this Leela, Mother Yasoda, in her Vatsalya Ras, is now experiencing Adbhuta Ras and Bhayanak Ras. These both things, they're congenial with Vatsalya Ras. Some of the rasas are friends and some of them are enemies. So in this particular pastime, the two friends of Vatsalya Ras are enriching the love of Mother Yasoda.
In the creation of the Lord, there is nothing more than the above-mentioned standard 12 rasas in the matter of dealing with one another. Activities of living being are accelerated by one of the rasas, either in its original form or in a perverted form. But all the rasas are emanation from the transcendence. Is BTG of 1960.
So, Srila Prabhupada explains in his Bhagavad Gita introduction how everyone serves. That's our dharma. That's the constitution of the living entity. And if we're not serving another human, then we'll get a dog or we'll serve something because we must serve. So all of these service mentalities are originating in the transcendence. When we serve Krishna in our eternal relationship with Krishna, these 12 rasas are there. And when we choose to turn away from Krishna, we have the same 12 rasas but with other living entities, and therefore those relationships are all temporary. So once we understand this science, because from knowledge comes happiness. So when we understand that either in the material world or in the spiritual world, there are only these 12 standard rasas, an intelligent person will choose to exchange in these rasas with the Supreme Lord Krishna, because any other exchange of love is temporary and ends in death.
In his childhood, Krishna played just like an ordinary child. But when his mother Yashoda wanted him to open his mouth so that she could see whether he had eaten dirt, within his mouth he showed her all the universes. This is Krishna. Although he plays just like an ordinary human being, when there is a need, he shows his nature as God. It's teaching of Queen Kunti.
So Krishna comes to enjoy also. That's Krishna's the whole purpose of life is happiness and enjoyment. So Krishna's enjoying, and enjoyment, the more the merrier. So he never enjoys alone. You'll never see a picture, a bona fide picture of Krishna alone. He's always with a cow, or cowherd boy, or his mother, or his girlfriends, enjoying some type of rasa. So Mother Yasoda, she being the devotee of Krishna in that Vatsalya Ras, she only wanted to enjoy Krishna with Krishna as her son. She had no interest in Krishna as God. But Krishna, because he was enjoying his own way, he sometimes manifested to Mother Yasoda and other devotees also that he was actually the Supreme Lord, but only temporarily, because that would interfere with their rasa, their exchange of love together. So this is one of those times when Krishna just shows a little spark of his splendor to Mother Yasoda.
Then Lord Krishna expanded his internal energy to cover Mother Yashoda's sense of awe and reverence with maternal affection. She immediately forgot that Krishna was God and again accepted him as her child. In cases like these, in the eternal pastimes of the Lord, knowledge of Krishna's divinity comes and goes, but always in the service of bhakti. This is Narada Bhakti Sutra.
So I think this is the last one for today. We just can remember this beautiful Leela, these two wonderful Leelas in Krishna's Kumara Leela, how he brought pleasure to the gopis by entering their homes and stealing from them, pinching their babies, calling them thieves. And then, finally, when his friends lodged a complaint against him, just to arouse Mother's anger so she would chastise him, he shows her his universal form. And upon seeing the universal form, again, she refrains from chastising him. So this is coming to a point. And I believe starting tomorrow, we will enter into the pinnacle of Vatsalya Leela, and that is when Mother Yasoda finally decides to chastise her son Krishna. Hare Krishna.
This very beautiful picture of Krishna. Do you know who painted this?
It's a photoshopped picture.
Oh, okay, yeah. But at least
the clouds are a little too small.